Good afternoon and welcome back to the 2025 Agro Expo event. My name's Travis Kiesel. Welcome to the Hutson booth at Agro Expo this afternoon. Thrilled to have Brad Peet with me. Brad, introduce yourself to the group.
Yeah, I'm Brad Peet. I work out of the St. Louis store here in Michigan. All right, I'm a precision sports specialist and a certified dealer instructor, and happy to have some time to sit down with you.
Brad, thanks for taking the time. Brad just finished up sprayer clinic here at the show, and so thrilled to have him for a few minutes. We're going to talk a little harvest prep. Obviously, a few weeks away for harvest preparation here. Have a S7 combine over my shoulder here. I guess let's talk maybe just a little bit specifically about harvest preparation for the S7 owners that are out there.
Yeah, so a lot of this is going to carry true, right? Even if you got the 24 and earlier models, right? If you got a S770 or 780s, a lot of this holds true. We've had some modifications in the S7s, but it's still a lot of that tried and true. We get it out, we want to make sure, how do our tires look? How do the belts look? If we've got a power cast tailboard in the back, how do our paddles look? Obviously, S7 being new this year, probably, hopefully, right, not going to have any giant mechanical issues that are kind of glaring us in the face. But some of the guys that ran some wheat probably worked out some of those quirks and things, but it's still just a lot of that. Obviously, we can still intermix headers and things from other years, and we'll kind of dive into that a little deeper later, I think. But make sure, say, if we're coming into that corn row or that corn season, that how do our fenders look, and do we need clutches? Are they bad, or do we need, maybe we're talking about upgrading to Romax row units, right? As far as the gears and bearings and some of the chains and stuff. Good opportunity to stop at the dealership, talk to some guys about that. Or if we're cutting beans first, depending on whatever that harvest is looking like for you. Obviously, if we got a belt draper, I'll look at the belts and tensions and knife guards. I can't express how important the knives and guards are. That we see a lot of guys, they'll change the whole knife bar, but we keep reusing those old guards, right? I hate to say it, but it's time to get out of them and get some new ones in there. No reason to sharpen half the pair of scissors that you got out there, right?
Sure.
So checking a lot of that out. I think heads will be the big one for us coming into the season. Obviously, like I said, S7's being brand new. Probably a lot of what we're going to see in that, if we didn't do wheat, it's probably going to be more of the calibration stuff, right? We talked about earlier in a different podcast, kind of the technology piece. So if we do have that ultimate package S7, want to make sure we're getting out there and calibrating those forward cameras, right? Super easy, super simple. Take the head off. You can drive ahead at a couple mile an hour for, it's like 100 feet, 200 feet, calibrates them, you're good to go for the year, right? Sure. So same thing. A lot of it's calibrations is what we're going to see in this. Guys will be excited. We used to have to do mass flow calibrations all the time.
That's right.
Don't have to do that anymore, which is great, because I think we forgot a lot anyways in between the season to do some of that. So that'll be the big stuff, and guys just getting used to that, the new styling, and there's less belts, less chains and more belts, and kind of that new tailboard system and how that works, and we're not using hydraulic pumps on it, right? It's a direct drive. Just kind of getting used to some of the new features and odds and ends that guys aren't used to seeing, and seeing how that's going to work for them this year. I actually was just out to a customer's just before wheat started, and they're, I wish I could remember the name, they're installing those blower bars in the back, just in front of the power cast tailboards. So that, it's time to start getting that stuff out, make sure it works, and especially with a new model year and body change, make sure all that stuff's going to kind of fit like it should. That's just a lot different than in previous years.
For sure. I think it's a great reminder when it comes to the preseason calibration. So much of that can be done before the combine goes into the field. And so not every single one, but the vast majority of those calibrations can be done in the yard and before it's taken to the field. Yep. And so many times we've gotten out there and you're supporting a customer to get started up, and we take 2 hours to go through calibrations to get a piece rolling, and we're rushing through, and sometimes doing that ahead of time can again leave a little better taste in the mouth going into harvest that first day.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely a lot better if all we're going to do is hopefully yield calibrations when we get to the field and maybe a little machine setup.
That's right. That's right. As you're talking about, you talk a lot about the mechanical preparations. Brad, talk a little bit about the technology prep. What's a customer need to do ahead of harvest technology wise?
Yeah, so a lot of that is getting in, especially now that we're going to a license-based style activations, right? We're going to make sure we get these machines out. Did we already send the licenses, or do we need to order them, right? We want to make sure whether it's you're just doing row sense and auto track, or we're doing the advanced licensing, are we doing SFRTK or radio RTK, right? Make sure all that stuff's in there. And then depending on, all right, guys do it differently. If I'm doing, say, setup files, I want to make sure I made all that and I sent all that. Or are we kind of utilizing the new work planner? And again, I know I covered a little bit in the other podcast that this year, if you set all your planning material up right and your varieties and all that, it'll auto-generate the work plan. All we got to do is click them and send them, right? So make sure that's coming in and that's receiving. And then making sure, I know if you get into your equipment mobile app now, or I just seen come out, I think it was last week, we have the new service tab in Ops Center. So that's actually giving, right, customers that clear view of what software do I need, right? So I know for the S7s, just before wheat season here in Michigan at least, there was a huge push for software. So make sure we're going in there, checking that. If there's updates, right, get with your dealership and make sure they're coming out, taking care of that pre-season. You know, kind of to your point as far as calibrations. I mean, the last thing I want to do is pull in the field and go, I forgot my activation for this, or I forgot this work plan, or whatever, right? I mean, this is our window of opportunity to hopefully head off a lot of different things in that department. Because I don't know about you, but I hate when I pull into the field and you're like, oh, I forgot this cover, or I forgot to latch this, or whatever, right? You get there and you're ready to harvest. It's like, it's go time, baby. Let's get this done, you know?
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right. And last, and certainly not least, as we're getting ready to talk about harvest prep, is header prep. You talk a little bit about some of the mechanical preparation on a corn head or on a platform, but talk a little bit, obviously new combine models for this year with the S7s. Yep. Talk a little bit about header compatibility. What's a customer need to be aware of?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, it's a little messy depending on what model years heads you have and everything. Obviously, if you buy brand new heads, there's no compatibility issues, right? But we are moving into that architecture, right? It used to be a 31 pin is what a lot of equipment ran as far as that single point connection goes. We are moving into that CAN-based 9 pin, right? So we're putting controllers on the head, and this is to help us with calibrations, right? So now when we calibrate the head, stays with the head, it's remembered in the head. We don't have to do it every time we hook and unhook. We do have kits, and there'll be different variations of this. You know, talk to your dealer, depending on what head you have. There are kits though, whether if you need to put a 9-pin adapter, say on your, HD 35F or whatever, we can put that on the combine side. The corn side, I do know, has some more caveats. You have to replace a little more harnessing to actually backdate that, or forward date an older head. So the best advice I can give you is go talk to either your sales guy or an IS guy at your dealership. Anything from basically 20 to 25, there may be 1 or 2 different things we're going to have to do to that head to make it work right. So there's definitely some hurdles to tackle in that department as far as head go with the new S.
And definitely not the first rodeo on that front. Obviously, over the years, we've been through this with the single point, and like you said, the 31 pin. This transitions over time. Anytime we have a new architecture, like you said, on the combine side, it translates to, hey, we've got to make some adjustments to the header side. Right. You get 3 or 4 years down the road, and the conversation works its way to where it's less and less. Yep. But that compatibility thing always, especially in year one, is a few hurdles to get through. So, with that, Brad, I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate your time and insights, getting to sit down ahead of fall harvest here. Any last comments before we close out?
I guess really just, if you guys have a new S7 out there, they're very different, but they're very easy really to utilize. just reach out to the dealership. Any of the guys here at Hutson that work in the IS or sales are more than willing to help you. Don't be scared to call and ask. Really appreciate sitting down here with you, and hopefully we have a great fall season to come.
I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, we want everyone to have a good, safe harvest. As Brad said, please make sure and reach out to any sales professional or any Precision Ag team member for any of your needs going into fall harvest. Happy to help with any of those. So from the 2025 Agro Expo, that's all for this afternoon. Thank you.